Yo, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Mostly Sports Talk. I am your host, Clarence. In today's episode, I want to talk about John Wall. But before I do, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to make sure you get all of my latest content. Oh, and before I move on, I want to do a shameless plug here. I also do a podcast called Mostly Low Budget Movie Reviews, part of my mostly mostly empire that I'm creating. My latest episode I did, it's up now. It's on Malignant. If you want to know exactly what that movie is, get a spoiler-free breakdown, and get a score consistent with the Rotten Tomatoes scale, go ahead and check that out. I'll put a link in the description below. Now, on to John Wall. Now, this comes as no surprise. John Wall was traded to the Houston Rockets in a deal for Russell Westbrook. And he really wasn't feeling that deal, that move at all. He didn't really want to be there. News broke recently that the Rockets have agreed to work with Wall on a trade. The Rockets are really into their youth movement and are committed to Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. backcourt. And Wall has no interest of coming off the bench. And the Rockets agree that he wouldn't really be beneficial in that role either. So he will not play while they actively work to move him to another team. And first off, I want to say this is the opposite of the Ben Simmons Sixers situation. This is how you conduct business. The Rockets clearly have no interest in keeping Wall, so they didn't trash him. They didn't undermine his value. And Wall doesn't want to be there. And he didn't run to the media and demand a trade. He didn't go, on his social media and start trashing management. They handled it behind closed doors, and now he will be easier to move. Now, on to the deal at hand. Notice I said easier to move, not easy. This dude is owed like 91 plus million over 2 years. And yeah, I mean, he can still play and be effective, but, he's clearly lost a step. So this is not going to be a simple move. However, there are some early rumors swirling around about potential landing spots. Let me break them down and see what you guys think. First up, we have the Clippers, which would give up Eric Bledsoe and Luke Kennard and, someone else to make up the rest of the money. Now, this would put him on a contender for sure. And Kawhi, he has that injury. He's going to be out for the year, or at least most of the year. I mean, I doubt he'll come back. And if he does, he's definitely not going to be anywhere close to 100%. And let's face it, Paul George is really going to need all the help he can get. And in this case, he would have a running mate. And, he would have someone else to take the load off scoring and doing the playmaking. So this would definitely be beneficial for him. Next up, we have Dallas. And, they have some issues there with Porzingis. So this would be a perfect time to move him. He makes a pretty good amount, but still would need to throw in some filler salary for him. Now, this deal would kind of be a bit tricky. Now, Luka is pretty ball dominating. When I think about him, I think about LeBron James and how he, commands the ball and runs a game. He's the primary ball handler and playmaker and does everything for them. So to make this work, Wall would have to play off ball somewhat, which could work. But again, he would have to be he would give them another playmaker and another scorer and allow, Porzingis to play off ball. But I'm not quite sold on that one. I'm not quite sure how that one would work out. Yeah, I mean, I know they need to move Porzingis, but for me, I think maybe they should look for another deal and see if they can work something out for him. But again, this is a rumor that is behind the scenes being discussed. And finally, this last deal is actually a 3-team deal, and it's actually my favorite deal since this is one of the deals actually potentially could help all 3 teams involved and give them what they want. So the Sixers would get Wall and some picks. Houston would get Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley III. And the Kings would get Ben Simmons. And of course, again, I got to keep mentioning salary to throw it in to make it all work. Now, Philly would get a playmaking point guard that will actually shoot and can make threes. Believe it or not, Wall shot 38% on catch and shoot threes last year, so he can catch and shoot and make those shots, and would help spread out the floor, allow Embiid some room to work, and could be big for the Sixers and allow them to kind of get back in that mix atop the East. Right now, things are kind of in flux. People don't really know where to put them in the East, whether they're still in that top three or somewhere in the middle of the pack. But potentially, the move could be good if Wall can still play at a high level. Houston will continue their youth movement and get some very nice young pieces that are on controlled salaries. Give them a chance to try them out, see if they can fit in, see if they want to build around them as well. And if they don't, again, they're very small salaries. They could definitely move them, and these are both players that, teams wouldn't mind having at that price, at least anyway. And finally, the Kings. They would have an all-star that they can build around. And, let's face it, besides Simmons' lack of shooting, which, I know that's a big part of the game, Ben would actually be a perfect fit because he's a great defender and playmaker, and he could pretty much play with anybody. And for his game, he wouldn't have to worry about a big like Embiid clogging up the paint. He can drive and do his thing like he would normally do, so he could have a free, willing offense. And if he has any pride at all, let me just say this. He should come back next year with a vengeance and prove us all wrong. And say, hey, look, I can ball, and it wasn't me, it wasn't my fault. So we'll see. But again, out of all those deals, that is the one that I like the most. And with that being said, I'm going to close it out right here. If this is your first time, don't make it your last. Which one of these deals do you like the most? Do you agree with me that the 3-team deal is the best, or did you have a different one? Or maybe you have a better landing spot in mind for Wall, or a different team or different deal? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.